During the mid-20th century, Yugoslavia, under the leadership of Josip Tito, emerged as a communist nation that proudly maintained its independence from Soviet influence. Striving for economic self-sufficiency, the country placed significant emphasis on fostering domestic industries, particularly focusing on the development of its automobile manufacturing sector.
Jedna napredna zemlja sa visokom tehnikom, sa socijalističkim uređenjem je snažna da ju nikakva sila ne može razbiti.
Tito's leadership, validated through a popular vote, charted Yugoslavia on a distinctive course within the intricate dynamics of the Cold War. Despite its ideological commitment to communism, Yugoslavia recognized the pivotal role of a robust economy. In 1953, Zastava, a company with a century-long history in armaments and military vehicles, made a crucial decision to transition from military to civilian vehicles. This strategic shift led to a collaboration with Fiat in 1954, resulting in the production of Fiat models on Yugoslav soil. Zastava's transformative journey reached a pivotal moment in 1953 with the introduction of the pragmatic Zastava 750, a rebranded Fiat 600, featuring a larger 750cc engine. This milestone laid the foundation for what would later become the notorious Yugo. The Yugo's narrative unfolds against the backdrop of Yugoslavia's unique political and economic landscape, unraveling the intricacies of its ascent, decline, and the enduring legacy left by the company. In 1955, Zastava cautiously entered the realm of car production, with a modest output of just over 1,000 cars in its initial year. Even after 3 years, production numbers showed only marginal growth. However, the company ventured into exporting vehicles to other communist nations, including Poland. The late 1960s marked a period of economic prosperity for the Yugoslav economy, with Zastava achieving an annual production of approximately 50,000 cars. A significant milestone unfolded in 1971 when Zastava introduced its version of the Fiat 128, aptly named the Zastava 101. Diverging from the Fiat 128, the Yugoslav iteration manifested as a practical 3- or 5-door hatchback, featuring a larger 1.1-liter engine that addressed the underpowered nature of the earlier Zastava 750. The Zastava 101 gained popularity within Yugoslavia, showcasing independent rear suspension that adeptly navigated the challenging Eastern European roads. Its success transcended national boundaries, reaching markets in Egypt and Poland. There were even rumors of a potential sale back in Italy by Fiat. This modern front-engine hatchback outpaced competitors like Volkswagen's Golf and Fiat's own 128 Coupe, securing a victory in its class during the 1973 Tour of Europe rally. However, the initial acclaim did not yield Zastava 101 from criticism. It acquired the moniker Stojadin, a name resembling Stojada or 100 Woes, reflecting its infamous reputation for dismal quality due to poor assembly. While the car excelled in rallies, prolonged daily use exposed its shortcomings. By the 1970s, the Yugoslav economy faced challenges exacerbated by the oil crisis, which quadrupled oil prices. Governmental economic missteps plunged the once thriving economy into recession. Amidst this economic turmoil, and with the aging Zastava 750 losing its appeal, the company sought a replacement. In 1975, they initiated the design of a new front-wheel drive hatchback, marking a new chapter in Zastava's automotive pursuits. Despite their ambitious venture into the production of the Yugo, Zastava heavily relied on Fiat for assistance in manufacturing the new vehicle. The initial prototype, named the Zastava 102, was completed by 1978, and testing commenced in both Italy and Yugoslavia. As the development progressed, the team faced a crucial decision regarding the engine. Two options were considered: an 848cc engine and the 1.1-liter engine from the Zastava 101. The smaller engine was deemed too weak, while the larger 1.1-liter engine was deemed too expensive for the new entry-level car. Ultimately, Zastava opted for the 900cc 44-horsepower 33-kilowatt engine from the Fiat 127. This choice provided the small car with adequate, if not compelling, performance, resulting in a 0-60 time of over 20 seconds. The rebranded car, now named the Yugo 45, made its debut at the Belgrade Motor Show in October 1980, with deliveries promised just 2 months later. True to their commitment, Yugos were in the hands of Yugoslav customers by the end of the year. While Zastava and the Yugoslav government aspired to compete with Ladas and Skodas in Western European markets, the Yugo's main selling point in the UK by 1983 was its affordable price within an increasingly competitive super mini category. Despite mixed reviews, Yugo sales contributed to profits that aided Yugoslavia's struggling economy. In the same year, Zastava introduced the more powerful 54-horsepower, 40-kilowatt, 1.1-liter Yugo 55 at the Belgrade Motor Show. This upgraded version featured an enhanced interior with velour seats, front headrests, and reversing light. The larger engine improved the car's competitiveness, addressing a 0-to-60 time of around 16 seconds. Sales continued to grow, and Zastava expanded its reach by exporting Yugos to countries worldwide. In the United States, a notable figure named Malcolm Bricklin, a charismatic entrepreneur, entered the scene. Bricklin, with a history of turning his father's building supply business into a franchise chain at the age of 19, became a prominent figure in the automotive industry. Despite facing legal challenges, including dozens of lawsuits and the company's eventual bankruptcy in 1960, Bricklin continued his entrepreneurial pursuits. In the mid-1960s, Malcolm Bricklin ventured into Japan in search of scooters for his new rental company. Fuji Heavy Industries, exiting the scooter business, had a tiny Subaru 360 that caught Bricklin's eye, resembling a Fiat 500 colliding with a Volkswagen Beetle. Weighing just 900 pounds, many U.S. car rules didn't apply, enabling its importation into the U.S. as a budget alternative to Detroit's larger cars. Founding Subaru of America, Bricklin introduced the 360 and the FF1 Star to American shores, going public and amassing wealth. His next venture, the SV1, a sports car challenging Chevrolet's Corvette, failed after producing less than 3,000 cars due to unreliability. Importing Fiat models as Bertone and Pininfarina Azzurra faced setbacks when Cadillac pressured Pininfarina to cancel the deal. Searching for a new project, Bricklin's team returned to the Yugo, considering it a low-cost option. Despite the initial negotiations by Miro Keffert falling through, Bricklin, unfamiliar with Yugoslavia and the Yugo, struck a deal to import the 1.1-liter Yugo 55 into North America. The shambolic conditions at Zastava's factory shocked him, but recognized potential amidst chaos. He envisioned selling the Yugo for less in the U.S., capitalizing on the vast wage difference between Zastava and U.S. auto workers. The Yugo, positioned as the epitome of affordability, underwent an American makeover orchestrated by Malcolm Bricklin. In a bid to entice U.S. consumers, every optional feature was thrown into the mix, transforming the Yugo into a package designed to appeal to American tastes. Bricklin, ever the astute businessman, enlisted experts to elevate the car's aesthetic with metallic paint. Meanwhile, he took on the task of enlightening Zastava about U.S. regulations, ensuring the Yugo's compliance with street legality. The U.S. marketing campaign kicked off with a flashy video, a signature move by the charismatic Bricklin, aimed at enticing franchise dealerships nationwide. Turning disadvantages into advantages, Bricklin highlighted the absence of expensive computer chips, emphasizing the simplicity of the Yugo's mechanics. The spare wheel, strategically placed in the engine bay, was touted as an energy-absorbing feature in frontal impacts, and key-lock doors were presented as a safeguard against accidentally locking the keys inside the car. Bricklin, armed with his persuasive prowess, targeted the American buying public with an onslaught of flashy advertisements. The Yugo was pitched as the ideal inexpensive starter car or a budget-friendly second car, priced at just $3,990, approximately 7,000 pounds, 9,800 US dollars, 8,200 euros, 12,700 Australian dollars in today's currency. In a theatrical flourish, Bricklin even declared the Yugo as the official car of the U.S. volleyball team. Adding to the spectacle, Bricklin boasted about the Yugo's use of space-age material, Lexan, in its bumpers and other parts. However, the reality was that Lexan was a polycarbonate developed well before the actual space age, dating back to 1953. As anticipation built, pre-orders surged to an impressive 100,000, with some enthusiasts willing to pay thousands above the list price. Zastava found itself scrambling to meet the unprecedented demand, operating 3 shifts around the clock, producing a car every 10 minutes. Yet as the Yugo approached its U.S. release, the specter of cost loomed large. Bricklin's promise to offer the car for less than $4,000 left little room for profit, especially with commitments to dealers and the need for his company's financial margin. In the end, Zastava faced the stark reality of nothing in terms of profit from this ambitious venture. As costs escalated for the Yugo due to the necessity of purchasing U.S. compliance items from outside Yugoslavia, matters came to a head, leading Bricklin to Zastava's factory. There, he bluntly conveyed that the company wouldn't make any profit from the deal. Faced with a struggling economy, Zastava reluctantly accepted, perhaps hoping to establish a foothold in the U.S. for future profits. The goal was ambitious, up to 150,000 sales in the U.S. by 1988. However, Zastava's long-standing Achilles heel, quality, became a prominent issue. The company's quality had never been stellar. And with new hires to meet the rising demand for the Yugo, errors proliferated. Compounding the problem, post-factory issues became Brickland's responsibility, and without profit, addressing underlying production concerns proved challenging. Brickland established 2 production lines, one exclusively for U.S. Yugos, yet quality problems persisted. He would jest later that Subaru dealers might despise him for warranty issues, but he compensated by importing the Yugo. The Yugo GV, or Great Value, landed on American shores, prompting journalists to finally put it to the test. A light car with power deficiencies and fit and finish problems, it still presented a viable option compared to pricier imports like the Hyundai XL. Despite public mockery, Brickland and dealers found financial success with this diminutive car. Flashy commercials persisted, with Brickland offering $50 if you bought any other car under $5,000. Though finding such a car posed a challenge. Competitive loans facilitated purchases for individuals with modest incomes. Brickland subsequently introduced the higher-spec GVX model with a larger 1.3-liter engine, aligning its performance with competitors. Air conditioning became an option, nearly a necessity in some U.S. regions. Attempting to elevate the car's status, Brickland added alloy wheels, a sunroof, trim kits, and eventually an automatic gearbox. Initial customer satisfaction was generally positive, especially in the first year. A 1987 Popular Mechanics survey indicated high regard for workmanship, with many expressing willingness to buy another. However, the Yugo soon became the punchline in numerous jokes, deterring potential buyers who preferred a used car over a brand new Yugo. Resale values didn't help matters. In North America, Yugo exhibited signs of a fleeting trend, evident in declining sales by 1988 when Brickland divested its stake in the business for a substantial $20 million. Meanwhile, European sales remained steady, buoyed by over 500 improvements advocated by Brickland, including the larger engine. Zastava even introduced a convertible. Despite the waning U.S. sales, Yugo's popularity persisted towards the close of the 1980s. The horizon appeared bright for Zastava. A pact with Fiat saw the Yugo rebranded as the Innocenti Mini for the Italian market. Concurrently, Zastava unveiled a new Yugo in 1990, the Florida, also recognized as the Sana. Built on the Fiat Tipo platform and styled by Ital Design, the Yugo faced scrutiny from Western European critics for its lack of attention to detail. While U.S. distributors aimed to showcase the new car, sales took an unexpected hit. The late 1980s brought turmoil to Eastern Europe, witnessing the fall of one communist government after another. In Yugoslavia, the economy had been in turmoil, experiencing a staggering 70% inflation rate in 1985. Rather than a smooth transition to democracy, latent ethnic tensions erupted into a full civil war in 1992. Trade sanctions imposed on Yugoslavia during the conflict hindered the export of Yugos and spare parts. Furthermore, parts necessary for Yugo production couldn't enter the country, leading foreign Yugo distributors to close their operations. UK distributors conducted a fire sale, offering the Yugo 45 for as low as £2,000, $2,800 US dollars, 2,300 euros, 3,600 Australian dollars. However, the lack of spare parts raised doubts about the wisdom of purchasing, even at such a discounted price. Malcolm Brickland appeared on the scene again, proposing to sell the Yugo once more in the USA under the cunning name of the Zastava Motorworks, or ZMW, as Americans would say. Understandably, BMW took a very dim view of that name. It was all academic, though, as Brickland's grand plans failed to materialize. This was a dire time for Zastava. They were doing what they could with outdated tooling and little funding. Half the factory was an abandoned, bombed-out shell. Audi was making cars in Hungary. Dacia was thriving thanks to Renault. Without a deal, the factory would close, and with it, the surrounding economy. In 2005, a deal was done to produce the Fiat Punto as the Zastava 10, but sales never met Zastava's projections, leading the venerable company, with roots going back to 1853, to declare bankruptcy in 2008. With it, production of the Yugo 45 ended after producing almost 800,000 cars, 250,000 of which were exported. Zastava's assets were purchased by Fiat, who poured money into the factory to modernize it, reopening it in 2012. It's grown to employ over 2,000 people, and in just 6 years, had produced over 500,000 vehicles. Yugo made Time's 50 worst cars of all time, and has been voted as the worst car of the millennium. But that's an unfair assessment. Many owners treated this cheap car with little respect, failing to service it regularly. But treated well, the Yugo can give years of trouble-free motoring. It's based on the tried and tested Fiat 127 and 128 mechanics, which lasted many Fiat owners for years, so this shouldn't be a surprise. Yugos can still be seen on the roads of the former Yugoslavia, a testament to the macho welders who didn't need goggles and occasionally slept in their completed vehicles, but who worked hard to produce a plucky little car that allowed many to afford their first brand new car. So the mid-20th century, Yugoslavia shift from military to civilian vehicles birthed the Yugo saga. From the Zastava 101 success in the 70s to the ambitious Yugo venture in the 80s, collaboration with Fiat shaped the narrative. Malcolm Brickland's U.S. entry added drama, but quality issues and geopolitical challenges led to a decline. Zastava's bankruptcy in 2008 marked the Yugo's end. The rise and fall of the Yugo showcased the complexities of automotive ambition amid shifting economic and political landscapes.